Well, let's go back to a topic we've talked about before. It's garnered a lot of controversy, hasn't it? It's now believed the New South Wales government will reverse its decision to amalgamate the state cemetery operators into a single entity. This follows a lot of backlash from the Catholic Church and a whole lot of other faith organisations who slammed the decision and pushed for an alternative solution to this overhaul. For more on it, I'm joined now by the Catholic Metropolitan Cemeteries Trust's Danny Casey from Sydney. Danny Casey, thank you for your time. We've covered this story on Credlin from the get-go when it was talked about a couple of months ago. This decision has angered the Church. You say they were shut out of consultations with the Premier's office by the end of it. A pretty huge response, though, from the New South Wales public, not just the Catholic Church here, all the other faiths who have used the services provided by the Catholic Church have spoken out. Where are we up to tonight?
Well, Peter, thanks so much for having us here, and particularly for your interest in following this story. You and your colleagues on Sky have been very, very helpful in highlighting the concerns that are there. We were delighted with the announcement the Minister made this afternoon in Parliament, and particularly grateful for the support for the Premier and Deputy Premier to ensure that the Catholic Metropolitan Cemeteries Trust, the faith-based charity that was recognised in the government's report as being the most efficient and the lowest cost operator, will continue and be part of operating cemeteries well into the future.
Do you have confidence that you are now going to be left alone?
I think we've still got to work through some details, but I think now's the time where we put aside some of the misunderstandings and some of the conflict that's there. We're very anxious. We've got new cemeteries with DA approval. We're ready to build. We want to continue to serve the many, many faiths, and we've been very, very pleased with the announcement today, and also encouraged by the many people from across multiple faiths, as well as people in the community that we've served, that we've helped through our grief care services across areas over many years, just reaching out to us to encourage us to make sure that we stay in the game.
Do you think the politicians in Macquarie Street underestimated the power still in the electorate from people of faith?
They may well have, it appears that may well have been the case, but clearly what's happened overall is that the community has spoken. The community's actually looked into this and said there were three options on the table, and but two of those actually included the CMCT going forward because we're the most efficient and the lowest cost operator. So I think that perhaps they may have taken a long way there, but the important thing now is that we're very grateful that we've reached this particular position, and we are confident that we'll be able to come to a landing and move on to continue to serve the people well into the future.
I'll use the vernacular here, but in politics it's often stuff up before it's conspiracy. Was there an ulterior motive out of Macquarie Street to take away faith-based organisations from the Cemeteries Trust, to turn it into a secular entity, or was this just consultations that started down a particular path and got out of control?
Well, I suspect it may well have been. It could have been either, Peter, but it may well have been towards the latter. There were three options on the table. It was never clearly explained why two were discounted. But I think the important thing for us now is that it's acknowledged that a faith-based charity is a sensible part for public policy going forward. We've delivered well for 150 plus years, and we plan to do that for many, many years to come.
How much of a challenge do we have with land for cemeteries in New South Wales, seeming that both sides of the political fence have not provided in long-term planning for hollow ground?
Well, this is a major issue that was highlighted in the report. But our trust, the CMCT, were onto this issue many, many years ago. We acquired tracts of land, and we've worked very closely with all the consent authorities to have the approvals to start building. We've actually got contracts in place and are ready to go at a major site. We've got enough land in place to be building all of Sydney, meeting all of Sydney's needs for at least 50 years or more.
Well, good on you, Danny Casey. You said, I think on my colleague Alan Jones' show, that the dead don't vote, but you've certainly given them a voice. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thanks very much.